This is lecture 21, Contrast Capitalism and Communism. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about two forms of economic systems that you're responsible for, capitalism and communism, and their impact on the world today, especially in the United States and China. The first thing we're going to talk about is Adam Smith. Adam Smith was inspired by the French economic thinkers of the 18th century who were promoting the concept of laissez-faire, which is French for let do. And the French writers believed that government should not be involved in the economy. Adam Smith wrote a book called The Wealth of Nations, which he promoted this, and his great metaphor, the invisible hand of the market. The invisible hand of the market is the concept that goods and services are produced at the right price for the right amount of people. Right here, you can see a political cartoon of the invisible hand of the market showing that the special offer is $2 because nobody's bought this, so therefore they've dropped the price. So, government should not be involved in the economy according to Adam Smith. Some of his disciples include Thomas Malthus. Thomas Malthus followed Adam Smith's idea with his population rule. He said that without wars and epidemics to kill off people, population would always increase more rapidly than food supply, so that people are destined to be poor and miserable. So we'll always have a bunch of poor people willing to work. And going along with this concept is David Ricardo. David Ricardo believed that there was always going to be a permanent underclass based upon the population statistics of Malthus, and that as we have a huge population that's poor, wages would be forced down as population increased because you have a lot of people competing for the same jobs. This leads him to his theory of comparative advantage. Comparative advantage is the worldwide economic theory today that it is better for items to be produced in China at a cheaper price than here in the US because it's to our comparative advantage to let them produce all our clothes at a cheaper price, and therefore we save money. So socialism is a reaction to this concept. Socialism is a type of economic system where the factors of production are actually owned by the public, by the people as a whole. The factors of production being land, labor, and capital. And socialists believe that, and like Jeremy Bentham in utilitarianism, that we should do the greatest good for the greatest number of people. Here's a political cartoon about talking about socialism illustrated. Spare change for somebody who's poor, and they reach into the taxpayer's pocket to get that spare change. Probably the greatest socialist thinker of all time is this guy, Karl Marx. He wrote a book called The Communist Manifesto with his partner Friedrich Engels, writing partner Friedrich Engels. In it, they say the world is divided into haves and have-nots. The haves are the bourgeoisie, or the wealthy class, and the proletariat, which are the poor, the have-nots. And ultimately, the proletariat would have a massive overthrow of the bourgeoisie, and he ends the Communist Manifesto with his call to worldwide revolution, workers of the world unite. In the final stage of the Communist Manifesto, you would have the final stage of socialism or communism, and all means of production would be owned by the people and private property would cease to exist. This is a joke cartoon right here. I'm making fun of monopoly, where everybody shares in everything equally and nobody has any private property. Now, today here in the United States, we have capitalism. Although ironically, recently the Ford Motor Company was bailed out by the government, and our modern election has to do with the role of capitalism in society. How much should the government be involved in it? And depending on how people feel politically, determine who they voted for in the most recent election. China, on the other hand, is a communist country politically, but they've switched their economics recently to state-run capitalism. So you still, these economic theories are kind of mixing together in the 21st century. But that's the end of our lecture. If you have any questions, please email me. Thanks. Bye.